I'm in such a messed up situation that I feel embarrassed even to admit it. My wife of 7 years, Sia, is cheating on me with my stepfather, Andrew. Yeah, you read that right. My wife and my mother's husband. It's disgusting, humiliating, and something I never thought I'd have to deal with. I'm 38 years old and my wife, Sia, is the same age. Our marriage has had its ups and downs, mostly due to her complaining that I was a mama's boy. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and before she left, I made sure to love her and care for her the way she deserved. She raised me as a single parent and gave me everything she could, even beyond her means. Andrew entered our lives 10 years ago when he married my mom. He was in his early 50s and divorced, but I could never connect with him. We kept things cordial but distant. My focus was on my mom, and after she passed, Andrew and I didn't keep in touch. He stayed in her house, which I didn't bother with until I saw something that flipped my world upside down. One day, on my way to meet a friend, I spotted Sia at a roadside cafe. She wasn't alone, she was sitting with Andrew. His arm was wrapped around hers, and their body language wasn't just friendly. It felt way too familiar, too comfortable. I didn't confront her immediately because I needed to think things through. When I got home, I asked her directly why she was with Andrew. She froze, then stammered out something about bumping into him and having lunch together. She claimed he was lonely and grieving my mom, and she was just consoling him. Her explanation didn't sit right with me. I didn't tell her I saw him holding her, and I decided to investigate before accusing her of anything more. Sia works as a nail artist and has weekdays off, while I work full-time. Recently, she'd been too busy to spend much time with me. She said I was being needy since my mom passed, but that wasn't true. I always made time for her, even when I visited my mom on weekends. Her accusations felt like excuses, especially after seeing her with Andrew. A few weeks later, during Thanksgiving, she insisted we invite Andrew to dinner. She said he was all alone and that as family, we should include him. I reluctantly agreed, wanting to observe their behavior. At dinner, nothing overt happened, but it was awkward. Sia kept trying to break the silence with meaningless chatter while Andrew and I barely spoke. After that, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was going on. I decided to set a trap. I told Sia I had to go out of town for work for a few days. Before leaving, I placed a GPS tracker in her car. The next day, I watched as she drove to Andrew's house. I didn't want to barge in and risk being wrong, so I asked my friend Keith to check things out. I told him my suspicions and asked him to record anything unusual. Keith hesitated, but after some convincing, he agreed. The house had a passcode lock, and I assured him Andrew probably hadn't changed it. If confronted, he could say he was just checking on Andrew. Keith got into the house and found the hallway empty. Then, he peeked into the bedroom with his phone camera discreetly recording from his pocket. What he saw confirmed my worst fears. Sia and Andrew were in bed, without clothes, cuddling. Keith panicked, muttered an apology, and left before they could react. Andrew followed him out, demanding to know what he was doing there, but Keith played it off and left quickly. When Keith showed me the footage, we realized he had accidentally recorded himself instead of them. Still, his description was enough for me to confront the situation. I packed a bag, left home, and stayed at Keith's house. I ghosted Sia, ignoring her calls and texts. She thought I was out of town for work, but I was preparing to end the marriage. 10 days later, the lawyer sent over the divorce papers. Sia refused to sign and demanded a discussion. My lawyer suggested an out-of-court settlement to save time and money, so we agreed to meet in his office. Before the meeting, my lawyer gave me strict instructions. No touching, no hugging, no confessions. During the meeting, Sia admitted what Keith saw was true, but she claimed it was just cuddling and nothing more. That alone was absurd, but what she said next blew my mind. She said she was doing it for our future. According to her, she wanted to secure my mother's mansion, which she thought Andrew had inherited. She believed if she could win over Andrew, he would give her the house, and it would eventually become ours. I told her she was insane. So, you slept with my stepdad to become my stepmom and take my mom's house? I stormed out of the room, leaving her to her delusional excuses. Later, my lawyer asked for details, and when I explained, even he couldn't keep a straight face. Here's where it gets interesting. Sia didn't know the truth about the mansion. After my mom passed, I didn't transfer the house to my name. I let Andrew live there temporarily, as transferring ownership would have been expensive, and I didn't want to make him feel like a tenant. The house was legally mine as per my mom's will, but I never told Sia. She thought Andrew owned it, and that lie led her to pursue him. After the meeting, Sia tried convincing me to reconsider the divorce. She said she would soon secure the mansion from Andrew, and if I stayed married to her, it would be ours. I laughed in her face and told her, "No thanks, good luck with your mansion." She smirked and said I was losing a lot by divorcing her. I told her, I don't care. She still seemed oblivious to the fact that the house wasn't Andrew's to give. The divorce dragged on, but eventually it was finalized. Sia didn't get much from me, just half of the joint savings, which wasn't significant. I felt relieved when it was all over. I couldn't imagine sharing my life or my mother's legacy with someone as manipulative as her. Once the divorce was done, I decided it was time to expose her intentions. I texted Andrew, revealing Sia's true motives. I told him about her confession, how she wanted the mansion, and how she believed seducing him would secure it. I also let him know the house legally belonged to me, according to my mom's will. Andrew was shocked. He admitted that Sia had been hinting at his will and asking about his inheritance, but he never suspected her true intentions. After learning the truth, Andrew ended things with Sia. He called her a greedy liar and cut all ties with her. She in turn called me furious. She screamed, "Why didn't you tell me the house was yours? I've been with that old man for nothing." I couldn't help but laugh and said, "Thanks for your efforts, but I don't need your help. Good luck." Then I hung up and blocked her number. A few days later, she called me again from a different number. This time, she claimed Andrew had dumped her, and it was all my fault. She insisted she was only trying to help me secure the mansion. I told her she was full of it. "You're not helping anyone but yourself. Stop pretending to be some selfless saint." She didn't stop there. She began showing up uninvited, to my house, my workplace, even the gym. It was a nightmare. She cried, begged, and tried to guilt me into giving her another chance. I ignored her every time. Eventually, I had to get a restraining order to keep her away from me and my mother's house. Months passed, and I finally decided to transfer the mansion to my name. Andrew had already moved out after the fallout with Sia, so I took care of the paperwork and began fixing up the place. The lawn, pool, and interior needed maintenance, and I hired a cleaning crew to get everything in order. One day, during the cleaning, I got a call from the manager. He said a woman had shown up at the house, claiming to be my wife. She was roaming around, touching the walls and looking at the interior like she owned the place. The staff tried to stop her, but she insisted she was my wife. I told them to kick her out and assured them I had no wife. Later, Sia showed up at my house, crying and begging me to let her in. She claimed she was wronged and said her intentions were pure. I told her to seek therapy and closed the door in her face. After that, I took extra precautions, including a restraining order against her entering the mansion property. I didn't trust her not to cause trouble, especially since I was planning to rent the house out. Even with the restraining order in place, she kept finding ways to contact me. She'd use unknown numbers or send messages through mutual acquaintances. She acted as if she was the victim, blaming everyone but herself for her downfall. Each time, I ignored her, determined to leave her and her delusions behind. 6 months after the divorce, I finished transferring the house to my name. I informed Andrew about the change, and he removed his remaining belongings from the property. A few days later, I received another call from the cleaning manager. Sia had shown up again, trying to enter the house. This time, they didn't let her in and called the police. She left before they arrived, but I knew she wouldn't stop. It's been quiet since then, and I hope it stays that way. Sia's obsession with the mansion was beyond anything I'd expected. I've moved on, and I'm focusing on building a better life. As far as I'm concerned, her chapter in my story is over. She can keep dreaming about the mansion, but she'll never set foot in it again. I just want peace and to move forward without her shadow looming over me.